specifically to Jubilee and IBC, and the position is that they must stop ethnic profiling and genocide in Nyanza. Yesterday, the 26th of October 2017, Kenyans resisted ill-advised attempts by the Jubilee Party to impose a farcical election that has only exposed the country to ridicule and left the nation more divided than ever before. We wish to thank all our supporters who heeded our call to stay away from the discredited polls. We also thank Jubilee supporters who saw the charade for what it is and refused to be part of it. Kenyans boycotted the sham in Busia, Kilifi, Mombasa, Kitui, Kisii, Nyamira, Narok, Kajiado, Kitui, Makueni, Machakos, Wajir, Mandera, Garissa, Vihiga, Kakamega, Nairobi, Kisumu, Siaya, Migori, Bungoma, Homa Bay, Samburu, West Pokot, Turkana, and Trans Nzoia. The boycotts were particularly significant because they defied massive amounts of money and other sweeteners that Jubilee heavily invested in trying to buy voters, particularly in places like Nguni, Kivou, Mui, Waita, and Nu wards in Ukambani, and much of the Nyanza and coast regions. By staying away, we have all made the case that indeed we, the people, are sovereign. The citizens have finally opened the servers that the IBC refused to open. The boycott has shown that the so-called numbers and percentages that Jubilee and Uhuru Kenyatta have been talking about were all along fraudulent. Uhuru lost elections in August. He has again lost this sham one, in which he was basically running against himself. Kenyans everywhere have overwhelmingly made a loud statement against Jubilee's electoral farce. We are profoundly concerned at state profiling of a part of our country with sinister, violent motives that could lead to a massacre of innocent people. We are concerned that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission yesterday, 26th of October, postponed the Jubilee enforced repeat presidential election in the 4 Nyanza counties of Migori, Homa Bay, Siaya, and Kisumu to tomorrow, the 28th of October 2017. The Commission cited insecurity as the reason for postponement, saying it would conduct the election after security has been beefed up. This is a wicked attempt at ethnic profiling of the Luo people. Beefing up security here is a euphemism for state preparation to unleash even more lethal force and state violence into these counties than has been witnessed in recent times. We are deeply concerned that Jubilee has now militarized elections. Conducting elections is now being used as an excuse and platform to commit genocide. This is well in line with this government's agenda against the people of these 4 counties. Following the Supreme Court's invalidation of the presidential election on September 1st, the state, through the Ministry of Interior and the National Police Service, has systematically profiled Luo Nyanza as an intransigent zone for the purpose of genocidal pogroms. It has gone on to subject the residents to state violence and terror in which precious lives have been lost. Under the pretext of quelling violence, the police, together with militias in police uniform, have brutalized the residents of the 4 counties. They have killed children, the aged, and other innocent people who are not even involved in the peaceful demonstrations against the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. In places like Migori, and Bungoma, an official state of emergency appears to have been declared. We note with keen concern that armed and uniformed state agents are now breaking into homes and houses and flashing out innocent people for torture. People are not allowed to walk in formations of more than 2 persons. We are asking IEBC to call off the forced polls. The motive is clearly wicked and evil, and the entire process a sham. Beyond this, we are concerned that this state-sponsored violence is now spreading to engulf parts of West Kenya and Nairobi. We are perturbed about the mayhem in Bungoma today and the loss of life there earlier. Elsewhere, Regan Omondi Otieno was killed in Kariadudi Estate in Babadogo, Nairobi. Paul Omina was shot dead in Mathare North, and Joseph Onyango in Busia Town. He is currently undergoing treatment. 19-year-old George Odhiambo was shot dead in Kondele in Kisumu. Whichever way you look at it, this government is unhappy that the people have rejected it. It has elected to fight back through violence, death and mayhem. The so-called fresh elections in Nyanza is only an excuse to massacre unarmed citizens. It is also instructive that this zone is largely a Seventh-day Adventist church region. We caution state agents against disrupting Christian worship through a meaningless election exercise, and even worse, violence. In the event that IEBC refuses to listen to wisdom and instead goes on with these meaningless forced polls, we advise the people not to walk into this trap of death. We call on the residents of these counties to stay away from the planned polls. End of statement.